Yeah, for me, I have to be inspired by a company for me, myself, but also in a role to inspire others to join. And we're really saving the planet when it comes down to it. It's really, there's consumers can try and do their part, but it's really big companies that need to do their part to really, make change for the planet. It's really, you get in the details of what there's a lot more detail than what I just told you, because there's a lot of companies that are failing at this, or it's getting more important, and companies just kind of don't know what to do, and that's really how the company was formed, is to really.
Hi, all. Good morning. So, today I have Patrick with us, who is all about transforming the workforce for a sustainable future. He is a leadership recruiter at Watershed, driving climate action in tech and building world class teams. Let's welcome Patrick on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where he will tell us what's it like working for a fast growing company, what he's learned along the way, and if he has any tips for people who were recently laid off. Hi, Patrick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
How's your day been so far?
Good. Been active.
Been active. Okay, Patrick, let's get into it. So, as a leadership recruiter at Watershed, you mentioned being inspired to work at a company that makes a world a better place. Can you share more about the company's mission, the value system, and what attracted you to the company in the first place?
Yeah, for me, I have to be inspired by a company for me, myself, but also in a role to inspire others to join. And we're really saving the planet when it comes down to it. It's really, there's consumers can try and do their part, but it's really big companies that need to do their part to really, make change for the planet, to reduce the carbon footprint. So we help companies really measure their carbon footprint in super detail. And then once you really understand that, you see the opportunities for change. You're like, a lot of companies don't know what to do about it. They don't know how to really measure, but then, all right, what do you do about it? So we'll help you have a plan to reduce that. That's not an overnight thing. Here's an 8 to 10 year plan to kind of get from here to get to here. Um, Give you the tools to do that. And then you can never get to zero emissions, right? There's always something you can produce. So then we have a marketplace where you can invest in the right things so you can get to net zero. And then you have to report on this. You can report on your footprint and your net zero. So we do all that, and we're really one of the only companies doing all that, and we're making real change, which is fantastic.
That sounds amazing. I think the first step is always the hardest, but especially when you have a thought of plan that states what you have to do from A to Z. This is what you have to do for in the 2 years mark. This is what you have to do in the 4 years mark. Helps in visualizing the impact that you can make, and having thoughtable breakdown actions can help in creating results that people wouldn't even want to bother in the first place. So thank you for sharing that. Patrick, my next question will be centered around recruitment. So, recruiting for a mission driven company is always very inspiring. So, when you speak with candidates, how do you present the company in such a way where the candidate's like, oh, wow, this company is very purpose driven. I would want to work with it?
It's really, you get in the details of what there's a lot more detail than what I just told you, because there's a lot of companies that are failing at this, or it's getting more important, and companies just kind of don't know what to do, and that's really how the company was formed, is to really, there's these consulting companies around carbon that just don't get it done. That's really why we started as a company. So really going through those steps of how we do it and the impact that you can make. But then again, like, I was early, but the people before me, and the founders are just great people, right? And then me, and then the rest of the recruiting team after that has really kind of kept the talent bar high and that culture bar high. So there's just no jerks, just really kind people ready for a mission. So in my 30 plus years of doing this, right, it's I'm inspired by what the company does. I so far, and I think it's going to be great business, right? This industry and the way we're doing it, check on that. But then it's how it's run and the people in it, and it's just in my 30 years been my favorite place to work, because of that. And that's the story I tell. It's really easy, right, from that perspective. And the mission gets our foot in the door. People always, oh, I'll hear climate out, of course. And so again, in my 30 years, it's been the best way to kind of get a first conversation. And then if they're into it, then they keep talking to us, and that usually does pretty well.
I think leadership is very passionate about the work that they're doing, and all focusing on creating a mission that is making a better place for the world, for people who live in it, is something so inspiring. So thank you for sharing that. Patrick, you've been in the recruitment space for quite a while, and you are known for assembling successful recruitment teams. What key principles do you follow in building high performing teams, and how do these principles contribute to Watershed success?
What it comes down to, there's fundamentals. Just like if you had a salesperson that does the fundamentals, that knows how to do it, it is, how do you sort, people that can actually source, have done that themselves, knows how to tell a story, right? I've been doing startups for the last 13 years now, and those aren't all always known. So you have to tell a story. It's not Apple. It's not these, Google, where everybody knows what it is. So you have to tell a story and what it is, and like the story I just told you about Watershed, and to inspire people and get people excited, so you have a chance to go, and this is the position that we're hiring for. And then you have people that really kind of weave that story and know how to match make, right? Really kind of understand what the job is, how to really kind of uncover from people what they really want, and then this is match. And then taking the hire managers. It's not just kind of let me find people and then the rest will happen. Hiring managers, teams, you have to kind of move that along. So someone is kind of like a soup to nuts recruiter, is the best. And then sometimes if you get a little bit bigger and they get to one side of it, at least they know the other side of it as well. So people that kind of know all sides of it tend to be the best, right? And then if they're more junior and they haven't done some parts, you really look for those core parts of a fundamentals of who they are, and kind of what makes them tick. But that's been my experiences of someone who can kind of source, weave a story, and tell a good story, know how to take that information to close, but also help the hiring team and the hiring managers be successful as well. That's worked well.
That's lovely. No, no, that's lovely. I think COVID definitely made remote work possible, but now more than ever, it's important for you to communicate in such a way where you can grasp the audience's attention, because a lot of people these days don't have a very strong attention span. So you really need to be quick, you need to be concise, and you need to have that hook that will want people to listen to you essentially. So thank you for sharing that. Patrick, my next question for you would be is recently a lot of companies have started laying off people. Wayfair was one of the companies that recently laid off a lot of people within the company. So when people are laid off, I think the first step that they go through is denial, which is the hardest step. So according to you, because you've been in the recruitment space for a while, what would be your key advice during that phase where people are just left
I
hopeless?
would go a little big picture for the fact that sometimes if it's a hot market and you get laid off, that's tough, right? That it's your company or your group, or that gets a little tougher. But it's happening widespread, right? So don't take it personally. Companies are cutting back. The market is down. Companies aren't performing. So just kind of know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people in that same boat. So don't take it so internally. And that's the best thing. But the other thing is, like, don't also wait, right? Because there's a lot of people on the street, get right on it, right? Some people may go, hey, I want to take this is a chance to take a break. If that's what you need to do, please do. And if you can, go for it, right? Take that break, and maybe the market will pick up a bit, which it is, I think. Um, but just know there's a lot of other people out there, so you need to hustle, and you need to kind of, if you want to get right back into it, get into it now. And so that's kind of the first step, is kind of don't bring yourself down, and know how it fits into the big picture of things. But then you need to hustle, and I'm not sure if your other questions, but then there's ways to kind of, the best way to kind of go about that as well.
No, I think knowing that you're not alone in a time where you feel so hopeless, so lost without any motivation, is something that can cause the person to go in a deeper hole. And so realizing that you're not alone in this is something that can definitely inspire people to reach out to other people, especially who might be going through something similar. So thank you for sharing that. Patrick, last question would be centered around I know your company is growing. I would love to know if your company is hiring for certain roles. So if people were recently laid off, they know what to seek for.
We grew a lot in 2022, grew modestly in 23. Now we're going to double almost in 2024, and it's kind of across the board. A lot in engineering, sales, marketing, product. So most areas, and we're fairly good about putting most, all of our positions on our website. Um, and it's funny, in my time, the amount of people that actually apply that we hire the talent bar is a little low. I don't know if it's because of the market or who we are. It's consistently, in my 2.5 years, 25% of the people we hire are from applicants, right? They meet our talent bar. And so I don't know if it's just because people, good people are attracted to climate, but please apply, right? And we do look at it. But yeah, we're hiring across the board.
That sounds wonderful, specifically because when you hear so many bad news, especially when you hear that companies that have a strong mission and vision are doing well, applicants are always happy. So thank you so much, Patrick. Other than that, our time is up. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your experiences, what it takes to build successful recruitment teams, a little about your company, and what you've learned along the way. It was a pleasure learning from you.